Mongolia. There can be few places on Earth so uncompromising, and yet much of this seemingly barren landscape once echoed to the thunderous hooves of the world's last wild horse breed, Przewalski's horse. Sadly, even here, man managed to almost eradicate them. Luckily, at the turn of the 20th century, several dozen Przewalski's horses were taken to Europe, and a small group of these later found their way to Prague. With the establishment of Prague Zoo in 1931, the horses became a popular part of this new city attraction. Their breeding went even better than expected, and soon these first individuals had grown to a small, healthy herd. The importance of Prague Zoo's continued breeding success was recognised in 1959 when they were given the honour of hosting the newly established International Stud Book. Today, almost 70% of all Przewalski's horses have a link to Prague. But what kind of guardians would we be if we didn't also care for the reintroduction of these special animals into their ancestral home? So, in 2011, Prague Zoo established a programme entitled The Return of the Wild Horses, as we began to transport animals back to Mongolia. In cooperation with the International Taki Group, a consortium of other organisations, and the help of the Czech Army, we have transported a total of 34 horses over 9 transport missions, and thus significantly increased the number of living wild horses in the protected Great Gobi region. Buoyed by these new arrivals, the horse population in this wild territory has grown to over 300. And our work here is not confined to the reintroduction of horses. We also help support local rangers and their communities by providing communication devices, motorcycles, off-road vehicles, establishing clean water supplies and ranger cabins, amongst a whole host of other environmentally focused initiatives. What's more, we apply the same commitment and care across other in-situ projects, such as the conservation of wild camels also in Mongolia, saving critically endangered gorillas and other species in Cameroon, the conservation of gharials in India, as well as returning Egyptian vultures back to their original environment in Bulgaria, and many others. And so, Prague Zoo's long-standing dedication to the welfare and preservation of animals continues today, and will into the future. We are Prague Zoo. We help them to survive. In the last few days, we had the pleasure of welcoming 4 new Przewalski's horses to their new home in the plains of Divčí Hrady in Prague. Roughly translated as Damsel's Keep, this beautiful location has as much history as the ancient animals it now hosts, and their introduction will only make this spot even more attractive for locals and visitors alike. Their grazing should also help re-establish several original species of prairie flora and fauna. Divčí Hrady will serve as the interim home for all Prague Zoo's wild horses, while a specialised enclosure and facilities for Przewalski's horses are built at the zoo.